So Tom, welcome to ACPC 2025 in Atlanta.
Thank you. This is actually my first ACPC I've ever been to.
Well, it's in your hometown, so that's a good thing.
Yeah. So for years I was with companies that didn't come,
Okay.
and then I was with companies that the sales department was the main group that went, and I wasn't part of that. So yeah, this is the first one that I've been to. So I'm
Wow.
excited.
As long as I've known you, that's
Yeah.
amazing that you.
40 years in the industry. This is my first one.
Yeah.
So yeah,
So obviously we've known each other for a lot of years,
a long time.
and through that time, I guess we don't have to go through your resume. You live in Atlanta, so people can kind of figure out where you were working.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
But at this current time, you're running a group here that's based on the U.S. part of SK,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, SK AeroSafety Group. So the group itself is a conglomerate of about 11 or so different companies with 18 facilities around the world. We have 8 facilities in the U.S. that I oversee, and there's 3 companies that are involved in there: Safe Tech, Fire Tech, and Semco. Constantly growing, constantly moving. As the industry always is, right? So we're trying to keep up with that, and in some cases get ahead of it. So yeah, it's I've been doing this for a year and a half now, in this role, and it's honestly, it's a blast. I'm having a really good time.
That's wonderful.
Really good company, really good people, and there's just so much opportunity.
And as a group, you're actively growing as well.
Yeah. So through organically, through networks, through M&A, mergers and acquisitions. Last year we did, or the end of last year, I think we purchased 3 companies. 2 are in Australia, 1 in France. And then we've got a couple more out there. I can't speak to those currently right now, but a couple more that we're looking at. And then, the idea is to fully integrate those companies as fast as possible, right? ERP systems, everything, get everybody talking the same language. It's not just a matter of acquisitions. It's really becoming part of the group, part of the team. And it's been a lot of fun with the 2 that we did in Australia. It's literally the other side of the world, right?
Yeah.
So our communication is my night, their day, opposite. But it's, they'll, hey mate, can you help me with this? And everybody dives in and everybody's willing to help, and it's been really, really a breath of fresh air compared to kind of some of the other companies I was at in the past. We won't go deep there.
Yeah, but what's been exciting as you've taken on this role and this challenge is the team that you put together.
Yeah.
And as a leader, I really wanted to meet with you to help us kick off something, because you came on board with us. This is our 5th anniversary as A-Wing.
Okay, yeah.
And you as a leader are, a breath of fresh air to our organization, as that's our mission and purpose. And you stepped up last year as soon as you came on board, and you came alongside us and said, I want to be a wingman and I want to support you with sponsorship.
Yep.
And so as we endeavored into our first layover lounge at MRO America, Tom was right there. So with the SK Group and all the companies that they represent. So that was very great. I'm very grateful for.
Oh, I'm grateful to be part of it. Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. And the good news is we're going to do it again in Orlando.
Yep, we're going to do it again.
And,
but it was, just looking back at how it came about, the circumstances. We had no idea. We hadn't seen each other in probably 20 years.
No, a long time.
We had no idea we were even at the same golf tournament.
No.
We had no idea we knew some of the same people.
Yeah.
And I walk up and my sales guy says, hey, Tom, I want you to marry. And I'm like, I know her. But when you mentioned, what you were doing now, and talked about A-Wing and the purpose and the passion that you have for that next generation of women in the industry, not only women, but that, A-Wing's acronym.
And A-Wing's mission, to be fair, is to overall change the numbers, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, thanks for acknowledging that we do help everybody.
Absolutely. And so, being 40 years in the industry, I'm very passionate about the industry. And I'm a non-pilot, right? I don't fly. I love the idea of it, but I don't fly. I'm a technical guy. I have an A&P. I came up through the ranks, and I started as a baggage handler, but got my A&P, worked my way up. But in looking back now at 40 years, generationally, the trade, the hands-on, the technician, is kind of a dying breed. I want to make sure it doesn't.
Yeah.
So I want to promote that next generation and all that. So when you mentioned it, I was like, I'm in. I mean, there was no hesitation. I remember right while we were talking, I was like, I'm in.
You did.
And then, the event took place, and I think you had a pretty reasonable turnout.
Oh, yeah.
From what you were telling me. I know I came up and I was sending my team up, go use the oxygen bar.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to do it again. But an example, kind of like what you were saying around what me and what I try to do. When I came on, we started a regional approach, right? So we have a Southeast region, a Central region, and a Western region in the U.S. And we have VPs over each region, because 8 stations is an awful lot for one person to try to oversee and manage. So first thing I did was put VPs in place. Then I had some other organizational changes that I was decided I was going to make this year. And one of those was revamping our quality organization and boosting it up. And one of my VPs in the Central region was the perfect candidate for that. So I had to backfill that Central VP role. And so we went through the hiring process. We used Recruiter, and very happy to say, and it doesn't matter. I believe in hiring on merit. It doesn't, I don't look for gender. I don't look for DEI or that kind of stuff. That's just not my thing. I hire on merit and qualifications. But I mean, I'm thrilled that we just hired a young lady as our VP of Central Region, who is, I mean, she's just knocking it out of the park. She's been doing it. She's been there 2 weeks, and she's already making a difference.
Oh, that's fantastic story.
And she's the next generation, right? From my standpoint. So what I want to do now that she's been on for 2 weeks, I want to bring her into this, so that she can go to her next generation,
Absolutely.
and do that. So when I saw you and we connected here, I thought I got to tell you this story.
So now I think it is. That's wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Because it really is part of the story of what A-Wing's mission and purpose is, right? It's not, first of all, everybody that's surrounding A-Wing knows that nobody wants to get a job because of just who they are, as of, their skin color or their religious belief, or whether they're a man or a woman. They want to get it because they're the best qualified person. And so the fact is, though, that we don't have enough in all jobs at all levels.
Absolutely.
And so every time that I hear that somebody did win the job on their merits and the way they should, it's wonderful to know that there's candidates. And that there are people that are landing these jobs, and that, you're not just a wingman and supporting us in the sense of financially, but you're walking the walk and talking the talk. And that's really what matters most, is coming alongside and bringing in the next generation, whatever level you're at, because everybody's got a generation below them.
Absolutely.
So as we work towards that, we really saw that this year at the EAA, and I wanted to share with you a little bit of where this sponsorship money goes. So the reality is that after we earn the money at our layover lounge, which last year was the first year we did that, and it's really a chance to give back for our membership and for them to get benefit from becoming us and becoming an A-Wing member and becoming, whether as an individual or as a corporation. What the money does is 100% raise, goes to the EAA. When we go to the EAA, we set up a camp. We bring kids between 18 and 25 who are either in college or just coming out of university. We help them find internships. We help them find scholarships. We help them find their first job or their next job. And then they help the generation below them by working at our booth. And the booth there, we're painting the young kids, doing a little face painting, putting a little hair tinsel in. And while they're doing that with them, they're talking to them about their job, what they're doing, how they're getting educated. Because a lot of times what we found over the years is people don't know what they don't know. And if it's not in a little book when you're growing up at 4 years old and there's a picture of a girl doing this job, how many jobs are, how many books have quality people and
Right.
engineering people and
Exactly. The
sales
layers.
people, marketing people? They just don't have it,
Right.
right? So it's not. And to be fair to anybody who publishes books, those aren't things that they do. They look at uniforms, they look at, diversifying that way.
Right.
But the reality is that a lot of people, when we're at Oshkosh doing our outreach, they don't realize just how many jobs of different fields are in our industry.
Let's support it.
So
Absolutely.
the EAA is a wonderful space from the standpoint of representing all this aspects of our industry, aviation, space, and defense, the experimental, the electronics that are coming, electric engines that are coming out, as well as you could go over to NASA, Firefly, so whether it's from GA to all the way to space. They're all there. And that's what's so fun for the kids to really see when they come up. And, we were able, from the money that we raised with you last year, we were able to send 5 kids plus our team of volunteers. So we hope to keep growing that through these sponsorships and with AvWeek's media sponsorship at MRO each year where we do this fundraiser. So, I'm delighted that you were great, that you found it to be worthwhile.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that you are continuing it in your hiring practices as well at your facility. So
Yep, absolutely.
thank you for that. And so one of the things that I've noticed, thinking back, reading books when I was trying to get inspired and coming into this industry, there were wonderful and amazing people, women in roles, because I actually, you mentioned that you started off as an A&P and baggage handler.
Yep.
I started off as a pilot.
Okay.
So, and I've spent almost my entire career in MRO aftermarket.
Right.
And so you just don't know what direction you're going to end up when you start out in this, or where the industry ups and downs may take you,
Right.
or where your real niche and strength is.
Right.
Right. And so I have a little bit less than you as time in the industry, but not much. But I think what has always been very striking to me is that even though during World War II, we had WASPs, we had all the women back home making the engines and working, and that's where our Rosie's the Riveter came from. And some of these iconic things that still live on today. And as early as Amelia Earhart, the group, the nonprofit called the 99s, was started by her.
Right.
So women have been in aviation, space, and defense since its onset.
Yep.
And even though we had these moments of great increase and knowing that women can do it, we haven't carried that momentum. Right. And so that pitfall, I hope to avoid and just keep it all moving in the right direction.
I agree. And I think, recently, and recently being maybe the last 5 or so years, some of the things that you just kind of talked about have been brought further into the light and into the spotlight through Hollywood and through documentaries and things like that. Look at the movie Hidden Figures.
Yes.
And, the people behind, going into space.
Yes.
But
the mathematician.
Exactly.
The support used to.
Right.
Yeah.
But the women that were involved in that, remember what they had to go through.
Yes.
And how they were looked at even.
Yes.
Right. They were looked down upon.
Yep.
Yet they were the ones that made it happen, actually. So I'm glad to see that there's a history is coming forward a little bit, but
not fasting.
Well, that's exactly where I was going. I'm glad you said that, because I still fear, and as I said earlier, I look at it from the technical side, right? That's my background, that's my passion, that's my thing. So from the A&P, from the technical, the mechanic standpoint, I equate it to, plumbers and electricians and those types of trades. Even, quite honestly, the garbage men.
Yes.
Right, or garbage women. Sorry.
Sure.
But these are things that and I'm not trying to broad brush the younger generations, but there's a large percentage that don't want to get dirty.
Yeah.
Right. So keeping that alive. Now, the future of aviation, there'll always be a little dirtiness in it, but computers and all of that, it's different than, there's a lot more electronics on aircraft today, which is a lot cleaner than, the old IDGs and all the greasy stuff. But all of that being said, keeping that awareness, raising that awareness, getting the younger generation, because I don't know how much, my kids are all grown. I have grandkids now, but I don't know how much of the trades are being pushed into schools versus the computers. And you look around, every kid in the generation's got their nose in an iPhone.
Yeah.
Right. It's all electronic.
Well, to jump back to, the movie you referenced and how long ago, and one of the most famous scenes out of that is the bathroom scene.
Oh, yeah,
Right?
yeah.
And I have to tell you, to this day, there are businesses, I'm not going to call them out, but there are still businesses that don't have a bathroom in the shop for a woman.
There are. You're right.
And so instead of building another bathroom, what we're seeing is jumping over that and making them unisex bathrooms.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
we're just, I don't know. It seems like it could be a lot simpler than we make it. And I do think that your first point, which is that you hire on merit, but I feel that in my experience, in my questioning people and asking why are we still at these numbers, these dismal numbers, under 10% women in all jobs at all levels throughout aviation, space, and defense? Why? What is it that's going to trigger it? And I think planting the seed that you can be this when you're young.
Yep.
I think seeing more people that are doing it, right, is going to help. And then having that bridge to help you, that helping hand, just say, you're done with school. Maybe school didn't get you ready to work, but there's people that will hire you on those entry-level jobs. And then you need to do this to get to your A&P, because you came out as an AMT, and we need you to have your A&P.
Right.
So or the airlines want you to have 2 years experience. So we're helping these kids, and that's part of our mission and purpose. Right. And we need the whole industry to help with that. Even if you know that kid's going to leave you after 2 years, you still have to be there, because they might not. Not everybody wants to go to the airlines. Not everybody wants to leave their hometown area.
We've talked in the past about, while I am an A&P and I appreciate the A&Ps, I don't actively pursue them on my side of the business anymore, because they tend to leave fairly quickly. Right. But at the same time, I will certainly hire people that are in school for their A&Ps or coming out that still haven't gotten it, because I think I gave you the example of, my start was with Pan Am as a baggage handler. Pan Am was not doing well when I got hired back in the mid 80s and all that. But to this day, I look back and go, Pan Am gave me a shot. Nobody else would. They gave me a shot. Right. So I still speak proudly that I was a Pan Am employee. So that's what I want out of the people that work for me, whatever company I'm at, that even though they're going to maybe move on someday, and that someday may be 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 10 years, I want them to look back and go, they gave me my start. And without them, I wouldn't be where I was today. Right? It's a cog in the wheel.
And I think the global part of this is, as global as we are, is how small we are. So in other words, you just brought it up about you and I. See each other for 20 years, and then you see each other again. And the reality is, you're going to see all these people from throughout your career and the different stages of your career again and again, and they're going to move up with you, and hopefully you move up with them. And the reality is that you started as a baggage handler. Look at where you are today. You're the CEO. So, I just met a young person downstairs who's just left the A&P position and taken their first sales and marketing, because they had a marketing degree. And he's like, I figured out how to make my worlds come together. This is my right space. And I'm like, that's exactly right. So making those connections and knowing that this can be an entire career, and that even if life changes along the way, there's a different place. Don't leave aviation, don't leave the industry, because there's a different role for you. I know a lot that move into quality. Quality is an area where we're really struggling for people. We need auditors, we need people who do inspection, right? It's also a good place to start if you're just coming out of A&P school.
Learning the regulations, following the regulations.
Looking everything up, learning how to research it, learning how to be the second set of eyes, because that other set of eyes is teaching you along the way too.
Right.
So it's a great like
Yeah.
mentoring.
It's
role.
funny that you bring that up from a quality standpoint, because I'm currently reorganizing my quality department around second set of eyes, around additional inspections,
Yep.
things like that, to ensure that we're in safety and survival equipment,
Yep.
right? It's in our name.
Yes.
So we better be the best at that,
Yes.
right? So I want to ensure we have those processes and procedures in place. And, of course we do, but we're refining all of that. So it's funny that you brought up the quality side, because, while I went through the operational changes last year,
Yep.
now I'm reorganizing sales a little bit, reorganizing quality, tweaking all of that as we go. So, but I want to go back to a comment you made about stay in aviation. Um, you know this as good as anybody, but once you get in, you get hooked.
It's in
And
your blood.
you can't imagine doing anything else.
No.
I mean, I couldn't imagine. Yeah, I could have been an auto mechanic. I couldn't imagine I'd be as passionate about that as I am
Oh,
aviation. There's something about looking at, granted, it's not flying much anymore, if at all, but the 747, huge airplane, right? I remember when I first became a mechanic at Pan Am, I was literally working out on the wingtip.
Yep.
Sitting on the wingtip, and one of the senior guys that I was working with, he ran to the tool crib. So me, kind of being new, wasn't quite sure what I should do, and I'm like, all right, I'm just going to sit here. And but I remember looking in at this airplane and going, can't believe this gets off the ground.
It's amazing. To be
It's
fair,
a
it's
hunk of
amazing.
metal, and it's just that it's fascinating.
Yes.
And I get to keep it there.
Yes.
And that was really, I think that might have been the moment I was hooked.
Yep.
I've stories, a good friend of my dad was a pilot for Flying Tigers and then FedEx. And I remember he started as a mechanic, and I remember him telling a story about working in January at JFK Airport out on Gate 10, and everybody knows Gate 10 at the old terminal was right out on the runway. No protection from the wind, no nothing. Jamaica Bay right out there. It was cold, with a flashlight stuffed in his mouth, up underneath the cowling of an engine. And that was his moment to say, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm going to go fly. But when I heard that story as a 12-year-old kid or 13-year-old kid, I was like, I want to go work on airplanes.
Oh yeah.
So that was kind of my start. Like, he was my inspiration a
And
little
how
bit.
old were you?
I was like 12 or 13 years old. So I went to A&P school for 2 years. I got my airframe while I was in high school. I went 2 years while I was in high school, and then I got my power plant on my own. And it was nice because my school board paid for it. I didn't have to pay for my airframe. And so, funny anecdotal story, I guess. I wasn't a very good student for my airframe.
Yep.
Because I wasn't paying for it.
Yeah.
I was C plus B,
Sure.
right? When I went for my power plant, top of the class. Because money was coming out of my pocket.
Yeah.
I'm going to get something out of this. Yeah. But there's something about earning it, right?
Yes.
And that's what I like. That's why I like the A-wing piece of helping people help themselves.
Right.
Right? So
It's a hand up, not a handout.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And so it is a much needed piece of mentorship. Our industry has changed. The generational familial connection that you had isn't there quite as often anymore, where my dad did it, I do it.
Right.
And the other part where we got a lot of our resources for our industry was the military.
Yeah.
So when the military would dump a lot of people out, they would go to the airlines. And so without those resources and the rate in which the aviation industry globally is growing, I think the Boeing numbers that were put out at EAA put it at like 700,000 or something. Don't quote me on that exact number, but in the next like 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's just phenomenal numbers that are needed.
Exactly.
And so,
and yet at the same time, again, I always go back to the A&P, but the A&P schools, the enrollment is down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if the enrollment stays where it is, we're not going to reach those numbers that you were talking about
right.
in the time that's going to be needed. And it's going to be, there really could be a crisis in the industry in the future.
Yeah.
for not only flying the planes, but keeping them there.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's a fair point, and it's a good career if somebody
Oh,
has any interest whatsoever. But like I said, I know how young I was when I was inspired. I think I was even a little younger than you, and it was just an airplane ride from a family doctor who had his own plane, and that was it.
Yep.
And it never changed over all these years. And I do think there is an energy and a love for it. It's not for everyone, but making sure we reach the people that it is good for is essential.
I agree.
And letting them know that we will welcome them and they're needed.
Yep.
And we can help them get there.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of ways to become a mechanic. There's a lot of ways to become all of these sort of.
Exactly. Like you said, it's not even just mechanic though, right? You've got dispatchers, right? Moving airplanes.
Oh yeah.
And getting pilots with airplanes and scheduling, and then you've got baggage handlers, then you've got cargo, and there's so much.
There's so much. And I mean,
and that's just the commercial world.
Yeah, and then
Right,
the
then you
FAA
got-
themselves need
Yeah,
help.
absolutely,
We're
yeah.
so short of
Yeah.
people in the roles there.
Absolutely.
And the controllers, and
Yep.
it just goes on and on.
It
So
does.
it's been fun because at Oshkosh, we even had our first lady that is a professional de-icer for the Indianapolis airport.
Okay.
And she came up with her daughter, and
Nice.
she's been sharing some videos of her works
Nice.
with us. And so, again, we're just kind of trying to continue the message of how many other jobs there are in aviation and space and defense. And so covering all of that and having you come alongside us and support us as your organization grows, hopefully inspires other companies to do the same and become corporate members. So that we can keep the pipeline going to help more kids get into our careers.
Glad to be part
Take
of that.
our places.
There you go.
So Tom, I'm really excited for the first year ever. I know we've been at this for 5 years, but this is the first year that we have gotten our space at MRO as early as we have for A-Wing to have our layover lounge. So, and it's actually growing. So last year in Atlanta here, we were at 6,000 square feet. Next year, we're just shy of 7,000 square feet. So the lounge will have even more included in it. And we hope to be able to have a space for doing interviews of wingmen and wingwomen through podcasts and the like, interviews to inspire other people. But in that space, we're going to have these sponsorship opportunities that we hope folks like yourself are going to come back year after year, or maybe somebody new step up. We have, if anybody is interested in reaching out for those sponsorships, they can contact me directly at mary@a-wing.org, or you can call me directly. My number is on the website, so it's 865-385-6107. But I'm happy to announce that SK is coming alongside again.
We'll be back again.
And what are you sponsoring?
The oxygen bar, which is very fitting for us because it's one of our primary components that we work on, oxygen products.
Well, we're grateful for that, and I'm glad that it's on point with your product line that you repair and overhaul. You are overall safety equipment, right?
Yeah. So slides, rafts, oxygen cylinders, masks, fire extinguishers, life vests, beacons, and we branch out slightly beyond just safety, but not too far.
Okay.
Meaning we're never going to be an engine company. We're not going to do landing gears. We're not going to, but we branch out, especially if a customer asks us, hey, can you help us with X? We'll certainly look into developing the capability and doing that. But from an MRO standpoint, I'm looking forward to seeing the growth of the A-Wing lounge.
So besides the O2 lounge, I mean the O2 bar, if you haven't been there before, we also have other relaxing, rejuvenating activities in there, including massages and meditation tents and a smoothie bar. And we're going to continue to add to this.
You do like some speaker forums as well during that, right?
That's correct. So
yeah, I think, and last year being our first year, I wasn't fully in tune with everything going on, but now that I know much more about it, I certainly can and will get the word out for people to go. Last year it was go up to see it. I'm not exactly sure where in the layout it's going to be. Is it upstairs again?
Yeah, I can let you know. So we're going to be in Orlando this year, and it's April 21st through the 23rd is when the show runs of 2026. And right after, like, the registration desk is over here, and we are straight over. The Hyatt entries this way, the Marriott entries that way. So
Okay.
registration here at Wing or A Wings as lounge, layover lounge is on this side. So before you even get down to the escalators to the floor, you're going to be coming past it each time you come in and out of the ground. So it's a really great location. And in that location, you know, we hope to reach as many as possible. And I'm eternally grateful to AvWeek for our continued sponsorship and media relationship there.
Yep.
So it makes all the difference. They know the problem exists, and they, you know,
Yep.
want to be part of the solution as you. So thank you for that.
You're certainly welcome. Question for you. I just thought of this. Have you thought of branching out to MRO Europe?
So we do attend MRO Europe. I actually go.
Okay, I'll be here as well.
Yeah, but it's more of a walking the show
Okay.
floor and reaching people that way.
Okay.
At this point, we hope to someday.
Yeah.
But the real estate in Europe for the show is just beyond our budget right now.
Okay.
And yeah, so we're only in our 5th year,
Yeah.
but they do continue. AvWeek continues to actually promote us, and the wing woman gatherings,
Okay.
even when we're not there.
Okay.
So our pins that you see me wearing one of today, we have those for everybody.
Okay.
And they will pass those out during those events when they gather to try to build momentum to having some gatherings and support.
Well, I mean, certainly the America's MRO is the one to be at. It's the largest, right? Or by far. So certainly you're starting with the right one. But I'm trying to think longer term, right? More expansion. So hopefully we can get additional sponsors for you to be able to do that.
Well, that would be wonderful. Be very grateful. But yes, I will be there.
Okay, good. Me
So-
too.
So, Tom, you know that A-Wing, before you joined us as a sponsor, was spending the years coming out of COVID running a job fair instead of a layover lounge.
Okay.
And, you know, we pivoted that down to the AMC competition where the job fair is held closer to the students. And I guess what I'm going to ask you is, what are you doing to kind of transform your business and pull out the best of your team?
I mean, so I've been in the role for a little over a year and a half now. You know, I was kind of brought on board to reorganize, restructure, and grow the business. So in the past year and a half, I mean, as I mentioned earlier, so we're 18 facilities around the world, under the SK AeroSafety Group, 11 different companies. I think it's 11. The acquisitions throw me off every so often with the number of companies, but I think it's 11 right now. 3 within the U.S. And again, Safe Tech, Fire Tech, and Semco are what fall under me. So we talked a little bit about, you know, we went to this regional approach from an operations standpoint. Our model around the world, because we deal in safety equipment, which is a lot of it is hazardous material.
Yeah.
So it's very expensive to ship. So our model is to be close to the customer, right? And we will pick up and deliver any of our product for free within 250 miles of any one of our facilities.
Wow.
Could even expand that for the right amount of volume and things like that, right? But that's something that
Strategically makes you probably a little bit
very different from our competitors.
sure.
So like our largest competitor in the US, I will not name them, has 2 locations. We have 8. The airlines are actually seeing the benefit now. We have the majors now using each of our regions for the same product, right? So they're sending oxygen to Miami, they're sending oxygen to Dallas, and they're sending oxygen to Phoenix, because they realize if I remove it in Atlanta, right, and I got to ship it all the way to Arizona, it costs me a fortune. But if I remove it in LA, the people in Phoenix will come get it for me
Yep.
for free.
Yeah.
So we have a couple of airlines that are now doing that. They put multiple locations on their AVL, and they're using us that way. And that has created,
Value.
quite honestly, a significant amount of growth.
Sure.
Our volume has picked up tremendously because of that. Now, I don't want all my competitors to know all this and do the same thing, but we're really the only ones doing that. And around the world, we're doing the same thing in Europe. I think I mentioned, we bought 2 locations or 2 companies in Australia, that are similar with some differences. And we're actually looking at putting those under one roof, right now. So the idea of us is, we may not always be the cheapest, but we're going to bring you the best value, right, for what you're going to get. Because our price, there's no, we don't do handling fees. We don't do, in a lot of cases, especially under contracts, we don't do even BER fees, right? Okay, you know what? If it's BER, it's BER, right? We don't charge extra exchange fees. Now we do under, like everybody, we have certain things where we'll do an AOG fee if there's something that's got to be put up to the top, right? Things like that. But in general, contract or no contract, a lot of this, our price is our price.
Yeah.
There's no, oh, we have this has waste handling fee or this
You're not
fuel
nickel
surcharge.
nickeling and diming
Right,
people with that.
Our price is our price. But with that, and we have brochures that we give out that show the value of what we're creating, and we're slowly but surely getting the customer base to see that. It takes a long time. The last thing a customer wants to do is change suppliers, because it's difficult. They have to change their computer systems. They have to change
Oh,
their.
yeah.
It's a pain.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's typically the last thing a customer wants to do. I know when I was at the airlines, I didn't want to change suppliers.
Yeah.
So you'd hang in as long as you could, and then you'd finally be so fed up that you'd make the decision or whatever. We're trying to make that decision easier on the front end for the customers. Along with that, back in the day when you and I started in the industry, we used to call it the 3-legged stool:
Okay.
cost, quality, and turn time.
Yep.
Right? That's what everybody looked at. In my opinion, and some people differ with this, and that's okay, quality is not a leg of the stool anymore. Quality is a given. It's a must. If you don't have it, you're done. There's just no question, right? There's no compromise on quality. It's not, you're a better quality than I'm a better. We should be the same quality.
Yeah.
Follow the manual, do the job right, same quality. Now, what else? What other value can you bring as a company to the customer? So I don't look at quality as a selling point. Now, don't get me wrong, warranties and all of that, right? We have to be on top of all of that. And we have to manage that, do the job right, do it right the first time. And when you don't, or if you don't, how do you recover from that to the customer?
So I think that's an interesting segue into AI, right?
Okay.
Because the airlines are now using a lot
Yep.
to do predictive analytics, predictive maintenance, and so forth. So they're looking for not just what did the OEM tell me to do, how long should it stay on. They want to, because they're 121s and 129s, they have the right to decide
Yep.
what their maintenance is.
Exactly.
When they remove and replace, when they repair, when they overhaul, right?
Yes.
So with that, have you already seen some change and impact to your part of the MRO industry?
A little bit. You know, without naming carriers, some carriers, I guess I'll separate your low cost carriers that don't have a big infrastructure,
Right.
engineering infrastructure.
Right, they tend to
right?
outsource.
Or go straight, just give me the OEM, whatever the OEM says to do,
Okay.
right? They don't have changes that they made to the manual.
Right.
They don't have quote unquote, blue pages or pink pages or whatever they're called in the industry now.
Yeah.
But your major airlines that have large engineering departments
Right.
that can look and go,
Why do we do
the OEM said this, but I think this is equivalent. We can do X, Y, and Z. Yeah, we have seen some of that. So an example would be, most of the stuff we work on is time controlled, right? Every 3 years it gets overhauled.
Okay.
Slides or oxygen bottles, right? There's a time period that has to, regardless of whether it's in the air or not.
Yeah.
It's just calendar days.
Yeah.
The clock ticks from the minute the 8130 is generated. Some airlines have said, well, I think I can get another year out of that. And they've done a little research, and they might have gone to a
So in
4-year
equipment, they have that same
They have that ability. Now they still, I mean, it has to be vetted out, obviously, and proven. Some have actually pulled in even the other way. So there's a newer generation slide out there that has a 6-year overhaul on the slide,
Okay.
but the cylinder that's attached to it only has a 3-year overhaul.
Oh,
So the airline said, instead of trying to get the cylinder to go to 6, we're just going to do the overhaul on the slide at 3 and just reset every 3 years the whole assembly
okay.
all at one time. So they've made that change on their own. So we've seen a little bit of both. And then you have, the a whole different segment of the business of DER repairs and PMA parts, right? PMA is very prevalent in the U.S. market, not quite so much in the European and especially in Asia. But in the U.S. market, we're finding customers are really open to the PMA. And now we're also, one of the things we're doing is, while we don't have an on-site engineering team,
Yep.
we have a contracted group that we work with who's very, very good. They've been wonderful to work with. And they've actually developed some repairs on old legacy units to extend the life because the OEM couldn't support it. There was nothing on the market, no replacement, nothing like that. And they developed repairs with us that we actually proved would work.
And so they're DER.
And they're DER approved, and it's for one of the major cargo operators. And they were thrilled with us that we took the time
to
develop that. And that's what I really like about this organization is,
you're building solutions.
yeah, we don't say no. We don't say, oh, the manual says that, right? And
Yeah.
no, okay, let us look at it. May not work, but let us try.
Yeah.
And I like that. I've always kind of thought like that, just not fully outside the box, right? Because the one thing from my standpoint now, this is obviously playing within the rules is very serious, right? So there's 3 things I never compromise on: morals, ethics, and compliance, right? So, but compliance doesn't mean only the CMM. It's any approved data.
Right.
DERs are approved, PMAs are approved, right? As long as there's approvals, certainly we'll look at that. So a lot of people think, oh, you have to do it. The OEM said so. PMA is no good, and I'm not that guy. So the thing that the airlines are really, actually all the customers, not just the airlines, are really looking at is, if the OEM can't support, then they have to find some kind of an alternative.
Right.
Right. So typically PMA is not. Everybody thinks PMA is birthed out of cost. It typically gets birthed out of availability, right? So if I have part A
Or reliability.
right? But availability, if I have part A that costs $5,000, throw a number out there, and I can get it all day long, and the airline's used to paying for that part for that, they don't always question it. But the minute I can't get it, and now they go over to another customer and they find a PMA for $2,000, they go, holy cow, you've been overcharging me. I can do this. So it's generally the light bulb comes on around availability.
Yeah.
Now granted, over the years, cost has been obviously a major factor with airlines. And so there's a little more focus from that standpoint. But early on in the PMA world, it literally was really availability. If you could have had the part, you never would have lost the sale.
Right.
But you lost the sale to a cheaper part that they're going to go to forever now.
Yeah.
Cheaper, I say cheaper, and more inexpensive part. Because PMA, the word cheap
implies the wrong thing.
Yeah, implies the wrong thing. And that's, people ask about PMA that are like my family members or friends will be like, what do you mean? What is PMA? What is that? And the way I describe it, and really to me, it's a very good analogy. So you buy your car, right? You buy a Chevy, right? You have a choice. You can bring that into the Chevy dealer, the OEM, and, get your genuine GM parts, right? Which it's great. Or you can go to Napa and buy your auto oil filter, right? Which is a PMA, basically.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, well, we do that all the time. Why do people in the airline think that's a bad thing?
Yeah, I know.
And I'm like,
You
I
get
get
it
it
now.
now.
This example
You get it.
now.
Yeah.
I'm like, my muffler is going to be $1,500 at the dealership.
Right.
But if I go to a local guy, it'll
Right.
be like $300 to $400,
Right.
and it's still a new muffler.
Right. And how long is it going to last anyway? Is it going to, right? How long are you going to have the car? Right. All of that. You take all of that into account.
But if the fit, form, and function
Exactly.
is the same,
Right.
and if sometimes in some cases even the reliability is
Improved. Absolutely.
and you know, the testing computation that the PMA developers need to go through to get the FAA approval is just as rigorous on a DER as it is on a PMA, as it is on an OEM new part.
Right.
So nobody gets to take shortcuts.
Right.
Back to your first point, quality.
Yeah.
It's not negotiable.
Exactly. It's
So
not. So talking about, you know, back, I'm gonna take the chance to promote the group still. One of the things that we're working on, and it's actually, we've launched it in Europe and the customer loves it. It's called MBM, maintenance by month. Okay, and the concept here is it works really well on parts that have a overhaul cycle, a time. So the concept is we pick one part number A, you have 100 of them over the 100 removals over the course of the year, right? You have a total of flying plus spares, 150 of these units, whatever the unit is. We can count, if you give us the data manufacturer for each of those 150 units, we can calculate when that unit will need an overhaul, and then when the life limit of any part of that unit will need to be changed, like on an oxygen cylinder, a cylinder has a 15-year life. When that'll be, we can build that into a cost or a price. It's kind of like power by the hour, but it's not.
right.
And what it does is whatever you send in on a monthly basis, we can calculate that out over 3 to 5 years, and then divide that by the number of months, and you come up with a monthly invoice.
So that you're level loading their cost.
Exactly. So if you send in one, you spend $1,000. You spend in 1,000, you spend $1,000 that month, right? Or 100, you spend $1,000. It's the same amount.
It's overtime.
And what you don't have to do, the benefit, the true benefit to the customer is you don't have to approve a quote. You don't have to send 100 invoices. You send one. There's no take all your administrative time away.
But they're locked in.
And but they're locked in, right? Because because then we know
we're getting
that for 5 years, I can go buy all my inventory today.
And you might you might have a month with 100 of them. You might have a month with 5 of them.
Right.
And so either way, they're paying the same amount, but
and like I say, it works really well with the time limited stuff.
Yeah.
And the customer,
you could do this with every product that you can with yours.
No. And so what we're throwing out there, because it's so different,
Sure.
we're throwing out to our customers, pick one part.
Let's try it.
Pick one part number. You know, so like we work on a fire extinguisher that the overhaul on it's like $400. But there's like, they're the water handheld fire extinguisher. They're on every airplane, in all the overhead bins. Every customer has them.
Yep.
And they have really high removals.
Yep.
So that's administrative costs to ship it out. To quote it, approve it, invoice it, do all that. Take all that, lump it together. You actually, not that I'm looking to reduce the workforce, I don't mean it that way, but you can allocate resources to do other things.
More important.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And everybody's growing.
Right.
So you need to use, and as we've talked about this whole entire interview, is really about the shrinking of available resources as exponential growth is occurring in our industry. So if you don't learn how to do things better, faster, cheaper, and different in an over 100-year-old industry,
right,
you know, how are you going to be able to do that? And so it's good to touch on the things about AI, preventative maintenance, as well as maybe blockchain, which really I think indirectly is woven into what you're talking about, realize it or not.
Right.
It's not quite all the way out yet.
Exactly.
But these are the things that would come out of it.
This is the innovation.
You're trying to find a way to bring it now.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So from an initiative standpoint, right? You mentioned quality, and I told you that we're working on the reorganization, restructuring, getting the right people in the right place, and the right oversight, the right uh, processes in place, refining and enhancing those processes. I think the biggest thing, that's important to everybody is, especially in the inflatable world, tool control, right? So making sure that the tools you use go back in the toolbox at the end of the day, right? Keeping track of all that, because, if it doesn't, it could affect the function of the safety equipment out on the line. So we've enhanced our tool control from a standpoint of, um, we use simple things like, some people use washers or chits. We use keychains, right? So when you pull a tool off of the shadow board, a chit with your name on it, that you take and you write the work order number that tool is going to be worked on. You put it back up on the shadow board, so that any given time, like if I walk through a shop, I can look at a shadow board and I can see that every tool is accounted for. But if there's a blank spot, I can raise my hand, I can stop and say, where's that strap? Where's that wrench? Where is that? And somebody's going to have to go, I don't know, or it's over here. And then I get to say, why isn't your chit up there? Right? Because I don't know where it is.
Right.
Right. So I want everybody to be able to know where a tool is, what it's allocated for. And the idea of that is, we sign for all those tools at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day.
Yep.
So the idea is, we limit our exposure.
Yep.
That, God forbid, a tool ever should get put inside a product.
Yeah.
That we know that there's a finite number of units that could have gone out the door that day.
Right.
And we can limit our exposure. We can recall. We can do it if we have to.
No matter what company, airline to a shop,
Right.
Anybody that uses tools in this industry, I have watched over my career how it's changed.
Yep.
Mechanics owning their own tools and coming
Yeah.
with their own chest to
Yep.
even the airlines now. They're supplying everything.
Exactly.
Shadow boarding and shadow boxing everything.
Yep.
And it's not just the quality, and make sure that you have the tools you need to do the job you need to do when you need to do it accurately and to the quality standard.
Right.
Right. And so then it's also the travel time to, if you do a tool crib,
Yeah. Yeah.
like you need them in the cell, you need them in the place. We've all transitioned to that. So
Funny that you say that, because
these are big changes.
yeah, because human nature, right?
Oh yeah.
If I have to go from here, 100 yards to a tool crib, I'm going to stop and talk to 3 people
Yes.
on the way. I might hit the bathroom. I might grab a drink. I might do this. And I might have lost 15 or 20 minutes worth of work doing that.
Yep.
Whereas if the point of use tool is right there.
That's
so
right.
we've actually gone even further with that, while not putting too many tools on the shop floor.
Right.
We've put, like I have in our slide shop here in Atlanta, we have a wide body area, narrow body area, a commercial raft area, and a corporate raft area. We now have 4 tool boards. So we used to have 1 where everybody went to, but now we put it closer to the use.
Yep.
Same tracking system.
Yep.
Right. So we're continuing to refine and expand the safety and the security of our own work.
Yep.
So that's that piece. The other piece that we're really trying to do is, we mentioned innovation earlier. So I chuckle at this because my VP of sales is really good at creating an energy within our organization as well as to our customer. So last year when I came on board, he dubbed it the year of yes. We're not going to say no to anything, right? Customer says, can you help us go to the moon? Yep, we're going to be right there with you. We're going to get you to the moon, right? And honestly, a very large airline came to us and asked us if we would consider repairing cargo containers in Houston. And we were like, that's not our core competency, but sure, let us look at it. We now repair cargo containers for them. So this year, when we started this year, we had to come up with a new theme. And our theme now is whatever it takes. whatever it takes to get the job done. Now, I want to be careful with that because we just talked about quality, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it takes within morals, ethics, and compliance.
Yep.
Right? So we have a theme song by Imagine Dragons called Whatever It Takes. And we play that at our town halls. I'll turn it on in the middle of the meeting. We have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
But
great.
really whatever it takes, right? What is the customer looking for? And in some cases it's okay to say no. But not no immediately.
Right.
Right? We'll consider it. I use the example of the DER repairs we did on the units for the large cargo carrier. That was
really what you're trying to describe in those two expressions is really a can-do attitude.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's really what you're trying to grasp at in that messaging.
So my background, I was a customer for a long time.
Yep.
On the airline side. And I would always ask, can you, right? Can you help me here? Can you help me there? And then I moved to the OEM side. And I wanted to help, but the mothership would say, no, stay in our lane, work only on our product, work only to our manual. So coming over here to the SK AeroSafety Group, it's such a breath of fresh air to be able to have that candid conversation with a customer from their perspective, having lived it, and go, yeah, we can look at that. Yeah, we can try and do that.
I love about your story that you're just sharing and shedding light on is really the reality of, all three major pieces of our industry: the airline, the OEMs, and the independent repair shops. And there's many more, like all the parts suppliers and so forth. But the reality of those three key players is, and the parts suppliers, is we're all codependent.
Yeah.
Really, we are, and we're all needed in this industry. And so no one is needed more or less.
Exactly.
They are all needed.
And even like on the independent side, even alongside the OEM. And I just had a conversation with somebody from one of my competitors, because we're very friendly. I've known them for years, but there's enough room in this business for all of us.
Yep.
Right? If you get greedy, I don't want all of everybody's business. I can't do it.
No.
I'll fail.
No, that's fair.
But
there's enough to go around.
But that's why if you need help on something, we'll look at it. And if it grows from there, fine. But we never ever walk in asking for everything, ever.
No.
And
that's probably why you've got 40 years in. Genuinely, because I think, every time that a company has kind of raised out of the water as doing something unethical, you see the greed come in.
Oh, yeah.
And I'll be honest, I think our industry is very good at catching those situations and weeding them out.
Yeah.
And the DOJ is usually involved.
Yep. Yeah.
So it is a quality industry that, lives are on the line every day. And everybody's lives, families are flying on these planes. So whether you're the one flying it or the one riding in it,
Yep.
you have just as much to lose.
Well, and the other thing too is a little bit, we live in a little bit of a world of perception as well. But you look at cell phones, right? Everybody's got a cell phone nowadays. So,
which is a computer.
Right. So how often do you see on the mainstream news, the social media, whatever, somebody's cell phone video of something that went wrong on an airplane?
Yeah.
Whether it was really wrong or it was a perception or whatever it was, it made the media.
Yes.
And so I used to tell, when I was with the airline as a customer, I used to tell my supplier, you are me, right? But the difference is when the news headline hits, it's my logo that's getting beat up, not yours.
That's right.
Because nobody's really going to know about you. And I use the example, very sad example, but Value Jet.
Yes.
Years ago. Does anybody know the name of the company that worked on the oxygen generators that actually caused that crash? Most don't. And I don't need to name them, but most don't. They know the name that Value Jet crashed.
Yeah.
And Value Jet didn't survive that. The name didn't anyway.
Yes.
So it's the brand, right? And that's what, on our side of the fence here as the independent, I'm looking out for not only my brand, but my customer's brand as well.
Yep.
So.